Hi everyone, welcome to the January edition of the Nocturne Society. A few things we're going to cover tonight. First of all, we're going to cover a possible format change of how we do things here at the Nocturne Society. And then secondly, I thought I'd go and tell you about what happened to me personally when I died from a heart attack in 2003. Okay, to start out, I've noticed that there are, just in the Wisconsin area alone, there are many ghostly talk or ghost talk audio programs. There's me, there's a program called Ghost Gab done by the Southern Wisconsin Paranormal Research Group, and then there's The Unexplained, done in Eau Claire by Chad Lewis of the program The Unexplained, website The Unexplained. So that's three just in my area. Outside of my area, there's one in Detroit, in Michigan, that is called Ghostly Talk. And then, of course, there's Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie that plays nationwide. This really leads me to think I'm doing a bit of overkill. Talking about subjects of the paranormal is interesting, but why would you listen to the Nocturne Society when you could listen to Coast to Coast AM? And I asked myself that question. I really couldn't come up with a good answer. They obviously got bigger names on there, and basically here so far, you're just listening to my opinions on things. I have plans to change that, but as I said, there are other programs out there doing that too. So I was thinking of possibly, and let me know what you guys think of this, send email to chad@black-13.com. But I was thinking of making it more of a campfire session in a way. I had a Halloween party a few years back that was a great success. People still ask if I'm going to do it every year. And what that consisted of is a bunch of people, we just all got together and talked about ghost stories. And listening to someone tell a tale is often more interesting than reading about it. And so what I was thinking is possibly doing sessions with groups of people, just talking about ghost stories and paranormal happenings, and basically just having a nice chat about it all, and hopefully getting a little scared along the way. Now the main issue with that is, and why it may take some time for it to take off, is that I can't rely on finding just my friends to talk about this stuff, because they are, my coworkers and friends aren't as into this stuff as I am. So I'm going to have to reach out into the community and find people that are interested in doing this with me, and obviously people I haven't met yet. So that could take some time to get enough people to put it together. In the meantime, I'll keep doing this show, but I was listening to Ghostly Gab by the Southern Wisconsin Paranormal Research Group. I'm not sure which came first, if it was them or me. I just noticed them the other day, and but they've got some programs going back to April or so. I'm not positive who came first, but that's not important. I know them. I've went on ghost hunts with them, so it's not like we're battling for air supremacy. But they made a good point. They said that there are two types of ghost hunters out there. There are paranormal investigators, and there are ghost hunters. Now, the way they defined that was paranormal investigator is someone who's, devotes tons of time and money into it. They've got hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of equipment. They plan outings. They have donations. They do tours. They hold conferences. they obviously have lots of time to put into this, and it's gone beyond the realm of hobbyist, and which is what they say a ghost hunter is a hobbyist. A paranormal investigator takes classes, possibly reads books on parapsychology, which I'm interested in, and I do read a few books on parapsychology, but I'm not at that level. And it's not that I'm not interested in getting to that level and having tons of equipment and going on big investigations and having conferences. It's that I don't have the time or the money to do these things. So, I work in, I'm a software designer, and we have deadlines, and it's a very time-consuming career to be in. So it doesn't leave me a lot of time for this. So they kind of brought it to my attention that I'm more of a hobbyist. And at times, not even that, because I simply don't, during our crunch modes, I simply don't have time to do anything other than, read some news on the internet and post it on my site, which is redundant, really, because you could look up that information and read it for yourself. But so anyway, it brought it to my attention that, maybe I'm just doing the same thing everyone else is doing out there, and I want to do something different. I want there to be a reason to come to the Nocturne Society's website, not just hope you do because you happen to stumble across it. And so I'm going to try to go that route, and hopefully it'll pay off in the long run. And I don't mean pay literally, because I don't make any money off of this, but I'm finding it's not as popular as some of the other sites, so I want to give it a reason to be. If you have any suggestions, again, like I said, contact me at Chad. This is Chad at black-13.com, and let me know what you think, what you would rather hear. Like I said, for right now, I'm going to try and go that route, and it's rather deterring because, as if you've been listening to the program, I've been trying to get this group of people to do these ghost stories since November or October, and it's been hard to get them together to do it. So getting people together to do the show once a month, which is what I plan to do, is could be challenging. But then, like I said, not everyone I know is as into it as I am. So when I say let's do a little show and tell your ghost stories to my friends and coworkers, it's not a high priority on their list because they've got other things to do. They're not as interested as I am. And so hopefully I'll find some people out there in the Madison area that are interested and can put in their schedule once a month, a show where we talk about ghost stories. And that's another thing, is that the reason I never had the party again was because once you've done it, you can't keep repeating the same stories over and over and over every year. I think that would get a little old. So you always have to bring in fresh people, and then the people that went last year don't get to go. So that's why it was kind of a great one-shot thing, and that's why if we do this monthly thing where we talk about legends or ghost stories or strange happenings, or something to stray off of the usual topics that the other shows are hitting, or if nothing else, just we could hit the regular topics, but it's more interesting with someone else here than with nobody but me talking. So we'll try to go that route. Anyway, so that's the plan. Hopefully I can get it set up that direction closer to summer. Start spreading the word out. You have to be really careful, as you can imagine, in a field like the paranormal. You go out there looking for people, you could easily get some crackpots, and not really what I'm looking for. Looking for people that are a little more serious than that, and are willing to take a little time, and if they don't have anything fresh to bring, go find something fresh to bring to the program. So there's that. Anyway, so the other thing I thought I'd talk about tonight is when I died, my death. And, ghost hunters out there, I've been interested in the paranormal for, ever, since I was a little kid. My sister and I, when we were little, thought we saw something in the attic. And when it was so long ago and we were so young that you start to wonder, did you really see something, or was it just a dream? Was it your imagination because you were so little? I mean, to me, I think I more remember the images I have in my mind of what I thought it looked like than what it actually was. But anyway, we looked up the stairway, and there was a railing at the top of the stairs that went around the upstairs to keep you from falling down. And we opened the door and looked up into the darkness of the attic. And we both thought we saw a ghost peeking over the railing. And when it saw us, it ducked. It ducked its head down and disappeared. Of course, we were little kids, and it scared the crap out of us. So we didn't go check it out. But, then during high school, I had people saying they felt something was following me because strange things happened around me. And I have my own opinions on that. I think this goes into the realm of parapsychology. And it really, being somewhat of a skeptic, I really think it's that a lot of what we consider to be paranormal activity is actually mental manipulation by people. You've heard the theory that poltergeists are actually caused by, teenagers under stress. And I think people can do a lot more than they think they can do. And that's why I often feel that when you go out looking for something spooky and scary to happen, it will, because you want it to. So it's more like energy projection, in my opinion, a lot of the times. I mean, obviously, I don't know for positive, but it's just a theory I have. I think a lot of things that happen are caused by that. So anyway, to get back to the track I was going on, I think in high school when people were saying a lot of strange things sure happen around you, and I was a teenager obviously, and that's one of the prime times for it to happen, and I was often under stress, family and whatnot, so it could have all just been projections from me, so the people around me would experience this. But anyway, this has led to my interest in the paranormal. And till 2003, I got more of a vested interest in the paranormal when I had a heart attack and died. And so my interest in the paranormal has turned from just a casual curiosity to I'm kind of looking towards the future, you could say. I have a genetic disorder that we found out about at age 34, that I have high amounts of lipoprotein A in my blood. What that boils down to is I have super high cholesterol. And, high cholesterol is 200. The doctors consider that high. When I was tested with unmedicated cholesterol levels, my cholesterol was 500. So 500 plus high blood pressure on top of that was just, pushing me to the brink of death, obviously. And the reason it was not known, I'm not overweight. I'm 6'2". The doctors tell me my ideal, the charts tell them I should weigh 200 pounds. I'm a big frame person, so the doctors told me I should weigh probably 215, 220 in that area. And when I had the heart attack, I weighed 220. So I wasn't overweight. Still not overweight. Horrendously. I have gained some since the heart attack because I'm afraid to exercise. But anyway, because of all this, I had a heart attack. And I was just at work. I sitting there and went and talked to somebody, came back to my office and sat down. And was just sitting there, and all of a sudden I got this pressure in my chest. And contrary to popular belief, they always say it's your left side, then you get pain down your arm. Well, that wasn't the case for me at all. It was on my right side, and I had no pains down my arm. So I felt it was odd, and it didn't go away. It was constant. So I thought, I better go get this checked out. So went to immediate care, which is like you go there for stitches and broken bones. They're not a hospital meant to handle that type of problem, but they were right down the street, and I wanted to just confirm, is this something bad or not. So I went in, they hooked me up to an EKG. They said, you're having a heart attack. So they called the ambulance, and ambulance picked me up and was taking me to the hospital. On the way to the hospital, I was laying there, and the paramedic was back there with me, and I felt myself slipping away like I was falling asleep. And I turned to the paramedic and I said, I feel like I'm fading. And he said, what? And that was it. I was dead. And death came so smooth, so easy. I mean, you think of death as this terrible monster that's out to get you. Like it's this ominous ending that's going to happen to all of us. This thing's going to gobble us up. And it's just not like that at all. It was painless. It was just like falling asleep. Exactly like falling asleep. While I was dead, I was kind of in a dreamland, it felt like to me. It was black. I didn't see any light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't any of that, which some people interpret as maybe I'm not going to heaven, but I haven't done anything that terrible, I don't think. But anyway, I was kind of dreaming, and what was physically happening to me at the time was my heart was clogged completely in two places, and it wasn't beating anymore. It was quivering, they said. And my breathing had stopped. My heart had basically stopped working. In my idea, I was still in, my thoughts, I think I was still in my head. My brain hadn't obviously given out yet. So I was in my head, and I was dreaming, just like I was asleep. And I don't know how much time passed between that and when I was brought back the first time. Because it was wintertime. It was in November. I had coat on, long sleeve shirt on, jeans on, laced hiking boots. That was laced clear up and double knotted. So when I came back, they had to shock me to bring me back. And coming back was slow and painful because they were shocking me and beating on my chest, trying to get me to come back. And it really hurt. And I remember thinking I could hear voices and calling my name, and I was kind of annoyed by it. And I was like, what is going on? Why are these people calling my name? And then I remembered, oh yeah, I was having a heart attack. And it wasn't panic. It was, oh well. Yeah. It's completely not a big deal. And to me, in that state, I was like, oh well, I guess I'm dying. And it was casual, who cares? which I really had a lot of guilt for afterwards because I have a family and wife and kids and responsibilities, and the fact that I was dead and not caring about them was really a guilt trip after I came back. But anyway, when they brought me back, it was like I was in the inky fluid that's in one of those 8 balls that tells your fortune. When you look at it, you know how you shake it up and you look, and the words kind of fade in slowly because they're in that black fluid. That's what it was like coming back. I could see fuzzy images of faces in the blackness. And the people calling my name were the nurses, trying to get me to come back around. And then I'd be getting shocked. And finally I came to. And that was bad, because it was a lot of pain. Lots and lots of pain. And I was struggling, and they're yelling at me to breathe. They're like, you gotta breathe, you gotta breathe. And I was trying. I was gasping. And, when you finally came back into the world of the living and you realize you're on the brink of death, you panic. And I did something that I can't explain. I had no control over it. But I'm a big person. And, I don't know if it's just a defense mechanism or what it is, but I started swinging at the doctors uncontrollably. I had no way of stopping it. Swinging at the doctors and the nurses, and I guess I was knocking people all over the room. I was still on the gurney, but anybody got near me, I was smacking them, screaming for help. It was by far the most terrifying thing that's ever happened to me. That's why to this day I think if I was to go on an investigation and a ghost was to appear right in front of me, I'd be like, oh, so that's a ghost. Anyway, because I can't imagine something coming into this realm that would be as terrifying as that was. That was beyond terrifying. And anyway, so when I came to, I was naked. They had me on the table. They were trying to work on me. So from the time I had when I first died, and when they brought me back, they had time to take my coat off, my pants off, my shirt off, my jeans off, unlace my boots, get those off, get my socks off, my underwear off. Everything they removed in the matter of... Now, I don't know how long that would have taken, but... and I don't know if I came to right after that, so... It seemed like it was quite a bit of time. And my clothes were not cut off of me when I got them back. My bootlaces, everything was... They took them off normally, so it wasn't like they just ripped them off of me to get me into the operating room. So anyway, I'm in there, they're beating on me, they're trying to get me to breathe and start working again on my own, and I can't. I could feel it. It wasn't working. And I was laying there in my conscious state in the land of the living, and I was like, holy crap, I'm 34 years old, I'm going to die right here. And then it started coming. I could feel it happening again. And because I knew what it was this time, it was utterly terrifying. It was the monster that you would expect. And I really fear that I have lost my peaceful death. Because I know what it's like. I know what it feels like when it comes upon you, and I don't think I'll be able to just go, I feel strange, and then be dead. I think my best bet is to die in my sleep, if it ever happens again. Well, when it happens again. Because if I'm conscious, I'm going to know what it is, and it's going to be a terrifying scream fest again. So anyway, I died. I'm laying on there. I'm feeling it coming back again. And I turned to the nurse and I said, I'm going to die now. And bam, I was gone again. Dead. Back into the, world of the dead, I guess. And back into peace and calm, and everything was fine. So I come from pain and terror to peace and calm, and and I don't know if this is the same experience as everyone else has ever had, but death is easy, bringing you back is hard. That's what my experience told me, is that it's easy to die, comes nice and easy and cool, and bringing you back was painful and terrible and awful. And the selfish side of me, especially once I returned and got back home and got back to the daily life, whenever something happens that's frustrating, like times at work or financial problems, or stress in the family, someone's ill or someone's having problems, it's the selfish side of me makes me kind of wish that they would have let me go, because it was all over. No more worries. But anyway, I died a second time in ER, and they shocked me again, lots and lots, to bring me back. They said the total amount of shocks they gave me was 12. They had to defib me 12 times total. And when I came to the second time, I was on a different floor having surgery done on me. They were putting in stents in my heart. And I'm laying there, and I know they're operating on me, and by this time I'm so weak I can't move anything. Now, I don't know if that was because they drugged me, because I was swinging at people, which is most likely the case. But I remember my arm fell off the gurney, and they had to pick it up because I couldn't do it myself. And I was laying there, and I thought, well, they're obviously working on me now. And I thought, is my chest open? So I slowly looked down, and it wasn't open. They did the balloon type of stent thing where they go up through your vein in your leg. And they said, you won't feel any of this, and I didn't. It was painless. And then, after they did that, I was back to recovery and could get back on breathing on my own and everything. So, afterwards, as they were wheeling me out, I was very, very weak, but I was apologizing to everyone. Because I remember I was swinging at them, and I just thought, God, why did I do that? These people are trying to help me. Why am I doing that? So I said, I'm so sorry. And they said, no, it's no big deal. Like, it happens all the time. And it just amazes me that these people, doctors get paid a lot, and people give them a lot of crap about getting such salaries and stuff. But wow, they brought me back from the dead and made it seem like it was no big deal for them, like it's a daily thing. Can you imagine having a job where daily you bring people back from the dead? It's pretty amazing. But anyway, they're wheeling me out, and the nurses are saying, you did so good in there, you did so good. And I said, I didn't do anything. You guys are the amazing ones. You did everything. You brought me back from being dead. And she said, no, you brought yourself back from being dead. She said, whenever someone turns to you on the table and says, I'm going to die now, they do. And she said, you at some point made the decision to come back. And when she said that, it's actually true, because it was something it wasn't very pleasant. Because I remember thinking, why do I want to go back to this place where all this pain is and all this terror? So, it would definitely, I'm not at all taking anything away from them. I could wish I was not dead all I wanted, and if my blockage wasn't removed, I would be. But she was right. I did make the decision. I felt pretty helpless there for a while, or hopeless. Like it wasn't going to, like that was it. So the residual from that was very difficult. It still is. Prior to my heart attack, I had had a light stroke because of this problem that they were just discovering. And by that I mean May, and I had the heart attack in November. And in May, when I had the light stroke, I had a few problems. I couldn't talk right and that sort of thing, the typical stroke thing. But I got in there soon enough that they were able to give me a drug to dissolve the clot, and I regained all my losses. So a doctor said something to me, a cardiologist or neurologist said something to me after that event that has, I don't know if I'd say it's crippled me, but it's been very detrimental. He said when the stroke had happened, I was up late playing a video game, and when it happened, and he said to me, "Thank God you were up playing that video game, because if you had been asleep, you would have slept through the stroke, not realized you had it until you woke up in the morning and were stuck with these issues for the rest of your life." So when you go in for that drug, you have a 4-hour window. You have to get in there 4 hours after your stroke, or the changes are permanent, or what the stroke has done to you is permanent. So when he said that thank God you got in, you were awake when it happened, because if you were asleep, you would have been stuck with it for the rest of your life. It's a little hard to sleep now. Very hard to sleep. And so that's rough. And just the fact that I died at 34, and if it wasn't for miracles, if it wasn't for modern science, I would be dead now. Natural selection has selected me to be dead. That's something that's hard to deal with a lot of the time. Especially in today's society where we're meant to feel so invincible. Now, that's what happened. There was a prior to this. And I don't know if I want to get into it because it's unbelievable. And I would say my wife is a witness to this, but that doesn't mean anything to the listeners out there. But here it goes. Months before I had the heart attack, I don't know if anyone out there is familiar with the program ICQ. It's a message program on the internet. My ICQ profile that talks about me, it says nothing. It doesn't say where I work, doesn't say who I am. Only thing I had on there was a quote from Jim Morrison. It said nothing about my interests. It said nothing about anything. But I'm at work one day. We use it a lot to talk to each other at work. And I'm sitting there and I get a message from someone I don't know. And they said hi, and I said hi back. And it was a little chit-chatty, and I'm like, who are you? What do you want? Because I'm getting kind of annoyed. And she said, well, I finally found you. I've been looking for you for months. And I said, how do you know who I am? And she says she doesn't know who I am. But she has been having dreams that are telling her to contact me. So I'm like, all right, I got a nut job on the end of my ICQ here. And I tried blowing her off, telling her, go away, quit bugging me, leave me alone. This went on for about a week of her every day saying, "Please, I need to talk to you. Please, we need to have a conversation." I was like, "There's no way this woman could know who I am through my ICQ profile to even know that she should be talking to me." Does that make? I hope that makes sense out there. The ICQ profile that she's talking to me through, and she found me through, says nothing about me. So there's no way that she could know. If she did need to talk to me, that would not be the way to find me. So anyway, finally I'm thinking, okay, maybe if I just talk to this woman, play along with her, she'll leave me alone. So I'm like, okay, what is it that's happening? She said she's having dreams at night where these spirits, black spirits, are telling her that she needs to get in contact with me and give me a warning. I'm like, a warning about what? Well, she didn't know. And I said, well, frankly, I don't believe you. And if you can't explain it, then I think we're kind of done talking. So one day she came to me on ICQ and said, I've gotten this strange dream that happened the other night, and I think I need to tell you about it. Maybe it means something to you. So I said, okay, well, what's the deal? And she said she was dreaming that in the dream she was at a dead tree. And there were these black birds that were dropping these strange runes at her feet. And I said, well, what are they? They're like, Nordic runes, or what type of runes are they? She didn't know. So I said, okay, here's my anonymous email that I give to people that I don't really want to know. I didn't tell her that. But I have an email account that I send all my junk to. I send, anytime something asks you for your email address on the internet, I send it to that because I really don't want them to know my home email. So I gave her that address. And I said, what you should do is draw a picture of these runes and scan it and send it to me. And I'll see if it means anything to me. So she did. I got the email and I opened it up. And I was stunned. I was literally floored. My website of my place of business, the intro flash scenario, or the intro flash movie as you're going into the website, is a dead tree with runes hanging in the tree and blackbird, crows type of birds there. And the runes that she had drawn pictures of were in there. Every single one of them. Okay, so immediately, since there's no way this woman knows who the hell I am, I replied to her, I said, who the hell are you? You're lying to me. I figure this is someone who knows me and is screwing with me. I didn't find it very funny. And she claimed she was crying. She didn't know what I was so mad about. And I said, whatever, this leads you right to me. So, I think you're someone I know. I said, you want to prove me wrong? Immediately, right this second, scan your driver's license and send it to me. Now. So there's no time for them to make up something to continue their prank. I said, now. I want you to scan it and send it now. And she did. Within a minute, I had an email with her attachment that was a scanned image of her driver's license. She was this woman named Naomi. She was a Hispanic woman from Los Angeles. And I've never seen her before in my life. I have no idea who she was. So I'm at a loss. This woman has contacted me. Obviously, these things in her dream have led her right to me. I showed this to my wife, and I said, "What is the deal? Can you believe this?" And she had no explanation. And she's a logical person. I tend to get a little caught up in things, and she's very, well, obviously, this means this. But I had her look at it, and she couldn't explain it away either. There's no way this woman would have known anything about me. And so let me summarize here. I work at a company. Even if she did know the company, there is no way she could have traced my ICQ account from the company to me, because my ICQ account doesn't say my name. It doesn't say where I work. It says nothing about me. And reverse that, there's no way if she got my ICQ that she could find out where I worked, because my ICQ says nothing about where I work. So there's the two corresponding things that don't link each other. And she found a link through this dream, spirits in these dreams. So anyway, she kept saying it was a warning, She didn't know of what. Bam, I have a heart attack. After the heart attack and after I recover, I contacted her a few more times. She said the dream stopped. How ironic. Eventually her boyfriend got upset that she was speaking with me and cut everything off. So she couldn't talk to me anymore. I was listening to another program one day from a spirit medium named Alison Dubois. It's Allison, last name capital D-U, capital B-O-I-S. I was really impressed by what she's been on TV a lot. The show Medium was done because of her. It was like a TV show made about her. So I contacted her after everything happened, and I said, I explained to her what had happened, and I asked her if she, through her spirit mediums, knows what this could have meant. And her reply was, generally, black spirits are a sign of brush with death. They're a warning of brush with death. So, ta-da! There are other forces out there, and that are... Now, I don't know. Maybe you can explain it, but I can't. So, anyway, I found that was probably by far the most influential paranormal experience I've ever had. Is a warning of my oncoming death, not knowing it was a warning of my oncoming death, and then dying. And then afterwards, this person's dreams and warnings ended. So, I don't know. That, to me, blows away any ghost, because that's bigger forces working than just a spirit in a house. What's out there watching over us, if there is something? What were these things that were contacting her and warning her about me? Why would they pick a random person, possibly someone who is more in touch with that side of things, I guess, and have her randomly... I guess it wasn't random, but they picked this woman who obviously is somewhat in touch with this, more of the spiritual ether, I guess, than I am, and have her contact me to warn me about my having a heart attack and dying. Which opens up so many questions, Why did they feel the need to warn me? If this, it did indeed happen the way it seems to, the way it looks, what is so important about my life that I need to be alive? And why would they feel that there was a need for a warning? Who's watching me that felt that, who or what is watching me that felt that I needed to be warned of this event coming up? It just opens up this big, huge book of worms that I ponder almost daily. So feel free to email me your suggestions. So anyway, that was the whole situation with my dying. And, I'm sorry if there are some of you out there that are terminal, that may be listening to the show, that have cancer or terminal disease. But I can't really say that that you'll experience the same as me. But I want to tell you that this big monster death at the end isn't so bad. I'm not at all afraid of death anymore, because here's what the deal is. Birth is natural. This became very clear to me after my death. Birth is a natural process. It's a joyous event. People are happy when a birth happens. It's a natural part of your life cycle. Death is as well. It's not a scary, big, painful, awful thing when it comes on. It's easy. It's natural. It doesn't feel like something's wrong when it happens to you. It's the way it should be, and it feels that way. It feels like a natural process. And although I commend modern medicine for being able to extend people's life and bring them back from death, it really interrupts the natural flow of things, and I could really feel that when I had my heart attack and they brought me back, because I had a peaceful death and was brought back very crudely, and how you would expect a man to do it, very violent and crude, and rip you back from the jaws of death, which aren't jaws, they're cuddly arms, They bring you back from the I don't know what the word. I don't know. It wasn't a terrible, awful thing. Although, now that I'm here and I'm alive, and great, it's good most of the time, and great, I'm glad I'm alive. But I know it's going to come again someday, and it's coming for all of us, and it's not something to be afraid of. I just wanted to make that very clear. It's not a terrible thing. It's just part of the natural process, and I'm actually very curious to know what's next. I'm not a Christian at all. I lean more towards pagan Wiccan, but I kind of have my own beliefs, and I think I'll cover this in a different show, but I think there might be a way to be a ghost. If it's possible. That's kind of what I'm saying when I say I have a vested interest in paranormal. I'm really interested in what I might possibly do when I die. And I'm, pretty sure it's going to happen before my time is normally up. I don't know if I'll get to be an old man, considering my situation, but I don't know. Should be interesting either way. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Again, like I say, please go to our forums. Please go to notice my blog. I just can't say enough. Please go to the forums, because I check it every day. I haven't had anyone post on that in a long, long, long time. And I wouldn't mind chatting with some of you if you have something to say about the program or about the website. Please let me know, or send me an email. That's just good too. It's just nice to get feedback and know that people are listening. And anyway, next time I again hope that I can get these guys together to do their ghost story thing. We'll see how that goes. To, like I said, maybe doing a change of format, doing something a little different instead of the standard, let's talk about this subject tonight, like every other ghost program out there does. So, thanks for listening, and sorry if this file's a little large, because it might possibly be. But thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you in February.